Fascinating question that we all ponder, right? We all ponder this in some way or some form. It's this question of how do we live a meaningful life? How do we live a purposeful life? How do we live a life that we're excited about, that we feel good about? One is, I think it's a phenomenal question. I think when we are willing to begin to ponder that question, to be with that question, that means we can begin to explore that question. And one of the most important things about that question is that I can't answer it for you. You can't answer it for me. You can support me, you can help me, you can encourage me, you can give me insight, you can give me perspective that might help me to get greater clarity on it. But you cannot tell me how to do it. Now, if my life is a big giant mess, if my garden is a big giant mess and it's filled with gasoline and filled with oil, like, there's a lot of things I can do that are going to make that situation better, right? And so it's kind of like when life is overwhelming, when life is complicated, when there's a whole lot of things going on, we just want to start with something. Start with something that makes our life better. Start with something that can make our life better. As we go deeper and deeper into the quest and of really exploring this question, pondering this question, being with this question, we have to begin to discover for ourselves. And I do believe there are a few core fundamental things that are very important that I do think works across the board for all humans. I think number one is that we are always training something, right? I believe we are always training something, which means every single day I'm doing something. Now I may be a master black belt at finishing ice cream containers, right? I may be a world-class expert on various sitcom shows. I may be ultra super highly skilled at scrolling my phone. Okay? We're training something. I might be training distraction. I may be training the absence of attention. I also may be training attention. I also may be training love. I also may be training caring for another human being, right? Being there for kids, being there for our loved ones, finding work that we're committed to. So it's important, number one, fundamental is that we're always training something. No matter what, we're always training something. Every single day we're moving in some direction. Now, if I'm doing this, my training is scattered, so it's very difficult to make progress. Or, coming back to this big question of how do we live a meaningful life? I may be growing in things and training in things that don't align with me having a truly meaningful and purposeful life. So then this bit brings up another fundamental piece, which is there are no silver bullets, right? This is not a quick, immediate fix. I have the answer and then I'm done. This is a lifelong process of increasing clarity, which means if I love the process of growing, of developing, of training, life's going to be incredible. If I hate the process, it's going to suck. So we're always training something. It's an ever ongoing process. And so then the third element of this is like, okay, well, how do we get clarity? Discover on like what matters truly to us. And I believe that starts with finding our values. What are those things? What are our values? The things that matter the most to us. Now, for some of those, and this can be across, it has a vast array. We need to identify those things that matter the most to us, right? And by values, I mean specific qualities that we desire to embody, that when we embody these qualities, we we are at our best. We feel the best, and we are at our best with others. We are at our best in the world. So, for example, some people have some values, freedom, justice. Some people, it's as simple as relationships. For some people, it's health. For some people, it's high quality energy. For some people, it's community. For some people, it's service. For some people, it's finances. For some people, it's family. Some could say work. They can be real specific. They can be very, very targeted. It could be incredible energy. It could be nutrition, right? It could be synergistic relationships. It could be synergism. These are all examples of values. When we know our values, what are the things that we specifically stand for? 3 of them, 5 of them. And remember, this is a lifelong process, which means we choose them, we begin the journey of increasing clarity. When we know what our values are, that begins to be the, we can call it the, it's the thing that we look at to go like, okay, am I living up to these? Am I embodying these things? How can I embody them more deeply? That living those things and expressing them, okay, how can I express this with my family? How can I express this with my kids? How can I express this in my community? How can I express this with my work? Those are phenomenal questions because these are the things that matter the most to you. These are the ways that we want to show up in the world. And then we're going individually in different areas and going like, how can I embody this more deeply? And that's incredible. That's a meaningful life. That's a purposeful life because, and now, again, we're always training something. This is a process, right? And so that means this is a process. I'm going to mess up sometimes. I'm going to be off like, oh, I'm living out of alignment with my values. And that doesn't mean I'm a horrible human. What that means is I'm on the journey and I'm learning and I'm discovering and I'm exploring. And then it's really exciting and thrilling because I then get to learn from my experience and I get to go into deeper alignment with my values and live from a deeper place because I now have more life experience. And I then go, okay, well, how can I do this with my work? And maybe it means we need to make some changes in our work. Maybe it means, but maybe right now to live in alignment with our values, we can't make all those changes, right? If we've been living a life where we've been training how to live out of alignment with our values, we don't get to just change that in one day. We don't even get to change that sometimes in 1 year, in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, right? But we can change it. The further we've gone down this way, that means the further we have to go back this way to get to a starting point, right? To get back to zero. So it's a super powerful question. What do we stand for? Yeah. We want to make sure when we're making something the main thing, it's the main thing. And if it's not a main thing, we don't want to make it a main thing. Yeah. So some thoughts, some reflections. How do we live a meaningful life? I don't know. What are your thoughts?